All right, guys, here we go. Got a special episode for you guys today on commercial fishing up in Alaska. If you ever wondered what it's like to be a commercial fisherman in Alaska, this episode's for you. Grab your life jackets and hang on, and welcome aboard. Okay, so my journey for this started off in Minneapolis, Minnesota, guys. This was done before COVID. You'll notice my hair is short here. I started growing my hair after COVID. So I fly from Minneapolis to Seattle, then Seattle up to Anchorage. And from Anchorage, you had to basically stay overnight to catch a morning flight over to Cordova. So in the morning, I zipped over to Cordova. The shot out of the window of the airplane here was absolutely fantastic. That's your flight, looking at the snow-covered mountains on the way over. Once you get over the mountains and you land in Cordova, they got a really large airport. So the town of Cordova has a real small airport, guys. Once you fly in, the flight over, the planes are carrying half the plane is cargo and half the plane is passengers. And that was the same as going in and going out of Cordova. You can see the cargo containers that fit into the side of the plane there. Once I got to town, Randy picked me up. This is the harbor where we'll be living on the vessel for the duration. So here she is, guys. This is going to be home for the next 3 weeks. So the bird dog is going to be my home. I'll be working with my friend Randy. He's basically hired me to come up and work for him for 3 weeks. This is home for 3 weeks. It's pretty small inside, as you can see. Got a small stove and sink there, 2 bunks. I got the top bunk, a little bouncy when it gets wavy. Small fridge and table, obviously. In the front of the vessel is the working area. After arriving at the vessel, we got my gear loaded. Then we went into town and bought a bunch of items I needed for fishing, including my commercial fishing license. Right on the edge of the harbor where you head in, they've got a memorial here to a number of sailors who've been lost at sea over the years. Obviously, Alaska can be some very dangerous waters. The seas can become very treacherous. At the base of the statue, there's a Walt Whitman quote here. But you'd see this every day if you were in the harbor going on and off to shore. The Coast Guard, very, very active. A lot of Coast Guard vessels up there. Nice seeing these guys out there. They got a big job up in Alaska. So how it works commercial fishing, we're going to be heading out of Cordova here. And right here, you can see it looks kind of sandy there. There's these big sand flats that most of the guys would run on the inside of. If you're in the blue there, you'd be outside of them. They get 12-foot tides up here, guys. So those things can move around. Most of the guys ran jet boats. The fishing area is out front of the Copper River. And here we go. We're heading out. What they do up there for the commercial fishery is on Sunday, they'll tell you Monday morning we're going to open for 24, 48, 72 hours. And they'll let us know like a day ahead of time. And Wednesday, they make another announcement for Thursday. The fisheries monitor the fish getting up the river. We're fishing out front in the ocean. They have giant sonar cables across the river in multiple locations, which they can monitor what they call the escapement, the number of fish getting up the river. The number of hours we're allowed to fish is based off the escapement of the previous week or half week. So here we're on the way out. This is our run to the fishing grounds. We're going to get set up here. All right, guys, we're out on the fishing grounds. When they say they're opening Monday morning at 7 a.m., you better not have the net in early or you're going to get fined. They've got helicopters and stuff out keeping an eye on the fleet. There was, I believe, 530 permits in this fleet. So here we're getting ready to drop the gill net. It's a 900-foot net, and it's about 20 feet tall. We might be in 300 to 500 or deeper water there, but we're hunting the fish that are coming in on top. You can see as Randy's backing the boat up, he's running the net spool as well. You notice he's not backing the boat up straight. He's going to back it up and he's going to make a zigzag pattern. And where we started there, he made kind of a J at the beginning side of the net. The fish will come down as they're coming in towards the river, and they'll see the net and they'll swim up and down it. The reason you make the J on each end of the net is the fish will try to shoot through that J instead of keep following it to go around it as they're trying to head up the river. So there's a little bit of technique with this. You'll be driving around a couple hours kind of looking at the water, trying to determine where you want to set your nets. And, if you can see fish running, you'll see them jumping once in a while. But it was a big area, and there's a lot of vessels out there. So here we're getting the net set, and we're going to leave it 2 to 4 hours. So if we're out there, let's say 72 hours, guys, maybe we drop the net in for 2 to 4 hours. Then we're either relaxing, getting a quick snooze in between working periods, what I'd call. So we'd relax, have lunch, whatever, inside the cabin. And after 2 to 4 hours, we'd start pulling the net. One day we're laying in the cabin just hanging out, and all of a sudden we hear voices outside. We got boarded by the Alaska State Troopers. I think this young man was actually on the TV show. Okay, we're getting ready to haul the net in here, guys. So it's been out there 2 to 4 hours, like I said. Typically, what we're going to do in this situation is one guy will be up front running. He'll be running the net in the boat and flipping the fish out of the gill net. As the fish come down and try to run through the net, they get caught, the net gets caught around their head through their gills. So one guy's up front going to be flipping out. The second person is, usually I'd be in the back here. We're just doing some filming while we had a calm day, so we wanted to show you guys what's going on. I would be in the back typically, and I would take and bleed each fish out. They paid us extra to bleed the fish. So we had 3 foot by 3 foot holds in the back of the vessel that the fish would go in. They'd immediately go in to an ice brine. I would bleed them out with a knife and whip them into the ice brine hold, where they would stay until we would pull up to one of the tenders, which basically a lot of the crab fishing boats and some of the big seiners would be tending for us. So as we would fill our boat up, we would leave the buoys and the net out and run over to one of the tenders. And after we get the nets all the way in, we immediately want to deploy the net back out. So that's what we're going to do here. We're just getting to the end of it. You can see the float ball, the large float ball on the far end of the net. So after we get this in here, we're going to drop the net back out. Then we're going to run over to one of the tenders to offload our catch. Got the net back out, and here we're pulling up to the tender, guys. You can see the wheel just to the left there is empty. The net's not on it. The net is just sitting out there where we left it. It's got the markers on it. Very commonplace. That's what all the fishermen do up there, so nobody runs it over or nothing. Definitely looking for that as we're there. And you can see all the fishing vessels here behind this tender as we're pulling up, getting ready to offload the catch. All right, so guys, here you get a little better view of what I'm doing. There's 6 holds back there. They're about 3 foot across. I'm connecting the crane to the 2 large straps that are on top of the holds. And it's a giant fish bag that's filled with ice, and we run salt water in it once we start filling fish in it. So as they're picking these up, this thing can weigh 1,500 pounds of fish. You see it's got a long rope on the bottom of the bag there. So that is a sorting table basically for the crab when these guys are crab fishing. So in the summers, they're tending and working for the salmon fleet. There they hook the bottom of the bag, they pick it up, they dump all the fish onto the crab table. They'll also take a thermometer and check the temperature of some of the fish. You know, stick the thermometer in the anal vent to verify the fish are cold. Each bag is pulled out. We immediately want to put the cover back on that bin so nobody falls down in it. They're pretty deep, as you can tell. Today is calm. On some of the days, it was a lot choppier. Now you're in a 32-foot vessel. Maybe you're next to a 100-foot vessel. So the way the boat would be bouncing around compared to the tender could be substantially different. So certain days you just had to be more careful with it. Safety is a big concern when you're doing this. It can be dangerous, but if you do things the right way, you shouldn't have any issues. The table that the fish are landing on initially is a scale. So after we load all of our bags of fish on it, the guys hose off the ice off the fish. They get an accurate weight, give it to Randy. We had a real heavy load of fish there. Then you can see they drop the fish down into the main hold of the tender there. The main hold is a big salt slurry brine with ice and salt water in it, and it keeps that fish absolutely fresh till they get back to the harbor. The tenders also carry supplies for us. I'm running this a little quicker here, but he's got giant ice bins in the back there. He's going to give us a bunch of ice so we can fill our bins back up so we can keep the remainder of our catch. We're going to catch nice and fresh again. We want those bins filled back up with ice. And it's kind of like snow cone ice. It's real fine. It's not big chunks. It's finely ground ice, but we use a lot of it out there. You've got 6 bins on the vessel here, and each bin is like 3 foot squared basically. So they're going to give us a bunch of ice and any other supplies we may need. They carry extra food and stuff on the tenders in case you guys need something or run out. They also have extra fuel on there you can purchase from them when you're out there. So they're kind of a valuable resource as far as being able to offload your catch, resupply your vessel if you're on a 3 or 4 day straight fishing trip, as I would call it here. In the meantime, while we're doing this offloading and resupplying, our net is still fishing out there. So this probably took us maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours. So after we get done here, we're probably going to immediately run back over and pull the net and start filling the boxes back up. Again, this fishery is extremely highly regulated. They keep an eye on the amount of fish that go up to the river. That I think, just from my experience, they do an exceptional job of making sure that we do not overfish the fishery. Like I said, they issue opening days 2 days a week. Typically, if there's not enough fish getting up the river, they won't open anything up. But this is kind of normal protocol for an Alaskan commercial salmon fisherman. So as you're out there 48, 72 hours fishing, in the middle of the night when you'd go offload, the tenders have these giant working lights on them. You've seen it on the crab vessels. So we'd pull up to them in the middle of the night, and this is about as dark as it would get out there that time of year up in Alaska. They call it the land of the midnight sun. You get maybe a couple hours of it this dark, and that's it. But so we'd pull up in the middle of the night, offload our catch here, and get back on the nets again. All right, so here we go. It's another opener. What we're doing here, once you get out there, let's say you can drop the net at 7 a.m. We're driving around the fishing area, which is quite large, and we're looking for signs of fish. We want to try to set up in front of them. There's kind of rivers of fish coming up through the ocean into the river. So we've been driving around here for about an hour, hour and a half, trying to pick a spot where to set the net. They're not everywhere. You got to find where they're coming through and get in front of them. So here we kind of figured, looked like a good location at 7 o'clock. We're going to spin the net back off here again. Every day is kind of the same sequence of what we're doing in 2 to 4 hour periods. So if you're out there for the 72-hour period, if you get a 72-hour opener, because you get a little exhausted after, working and fishing that hard. You can see Randy's making the J here as he's backing the vessel up. You don't want the net straight. You want it zigzagging, because as the fish come up and they see it, they'll swim down the side. And at some point, they're going to try to run through it. So a little choppier today, guys. We're getting the net laid out here, and we're going to see how we do on this day as well. So as you can tell, as we're running the net out and running the boat, very, very noisy operations. It's hard to get any audio on the deck. This was a few years ago before COVID, so the microphones and stuff we have now are a lot better. But man, it was difficult because of the ocean and the vessel noises and the spool and stuff as you're running in and out. One thing was interesting here too. You can see I got some water splashes popping up on the camera screen. It got a little choppier. It was hard to film later in the day. We finished up that opening period, whether it was 24 or 48 or 72 hours. We're running on the way back in. You can see it's definitely a little choppy here. You notice Randy had hearing protection on. When we're running the boat, it's extremely loud in there. So hearing protection is mandatory on his vessel, which hopefully all the rest of the guys, I'm sure, wear them as well. So as we're coming into got about a 20-mile run up the mouth of this inlet, so to speak, where you've got land on each side. The tending vessels would take, on the choppier days, they would have tending vessels up in the mouth of the inlet there, so it'd be easier for us to pull up to them and offload. Here we're passing that's a seining vessel, which they do a different kind of netting with them for a different kind of salmon. You can see the other boats running in as well. The view, absolutely gorgeous view as you're running back into Cordova from the fishing. All right, we've been radioing back and forth with our tender where we're going to drop our fish. So we're getting close now, guys. I'm out on the deck of the vessel getting it prepared. Randy's still driving from the wheelhouse behind me there. So you can see how deep those holds are, full of salmon in there. Those big bags, they hang on the corners of them holds. There's a hook on all four corners that hold the bag. So that way we can swing the crane over, pick them up. So Randy's now transitioned to the front of the vessel. So he's got good visual as he's pulling up to the tender here. I know.
Is that ours? Perfect. 37.
Let's see, you were keeping 7 apiece, so it's at 34.
So like 14. So 34, 30, there's 35 in there.
They're actually between keto and egg. And then 35.
Yes. I'll need you to sign a waiver later tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, just 2 bags.
How does this work? How does this open?
That little
Got a little clip on the back of it.
right here, this thingy, you
Oh,
push
yeah.
down on it.
There we go.
There you go.
Safety clip. Yeah, we'll just throw them both in there for now. Thanks.
Nice day, huh?
I know, it's beautiful.
People pay to come here.
I know.
I know, that's what I keep telling him.
One of those really best days ever here.
What's that?
It's like the best day ever.
Yeah.
I mean, weather-wise.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Yeah, you don't. It's pretty nice.
You get to see
You
the
got that thing going?
Yeah, I don't know, is it still on? Depends if the battery went dead.
No, it's still going. I think.
Say hi! Hello! Say hi to
Watch
this!
out for that. You need to just record everything.
I know. Thanks a lot. Yep. Bye.
All right, you could tell the crew was in high spirits. Pretty funny. They're not used to seeing cameras out there because the fishermen, when we're up there doing that, these guys are working. It's hard work. Today was an absolute beautiful day. You could tell just talking to everybody on the tender, and we're just kind of starting our way. It's a few miles yet to run back into Cordova, but you can see all the tenders are tied up out here where they're out of the swells, where it's a lot safer for the vessels coming in to offload their catch.
into the harbor at high tide.
All right, as we're rounding the corner into the harbor here past the break wall there, very interesting up here. The tides swing up to 12 feet. All of the slips, everything in the harbor there, all the docks are floating so they can go up and down with the tide. You can see Cordova there on the hill, very small town. It's strictly a commercial fishing village for the most part. That's the size of it. The only way to get in there is either by vessel or by plane. But it was always nice getting back to the harbor. So here's a photo of low tide, guys. Look, notice how tall, or the angle of that dock, and how tall those pillars are out of the water. Now here's a photo at high tide, or it's down about 3 feet from high tide. Significant tidal swings. Here's the Northwestern. She was up there tending for the salmon vessels as well. Again, all of the crab boats, or not all of them, but a lot of them spend their summers up there working as tending boats to take care of the salmon fishery. All right, guys, here's a snapshot of the harbor my last night in Cordova. It was an amazing 3 weeks. Hard to believe it. It went by extremely fast, but you're working very hard, and it's a difficult fishery just due to the conditions that you can run into up there. If you guys have not had a chance yet, please smash that subscribe button. That helps me keep cranking out more videos for you guys. And if you have any questions or comments on today's video, please shoot them over. You guys know I answer all my comments. This is Captain Matt with Marathon Sport Fishing. Hoping you enjoyed this episode, and I'm signing off for today.